The regular season is over in high school football, but the season goes on for one of the McKinney ISD team. Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Tyler Sloan. Congratulations to the McKinney Boyd Broncos for punching their ticket into the postseason with a win over crosstown rival McKinney. Boyd's head coach Don Drake is here to talk playoffs. McKinney Lions head coach Jeff Smith was on the wrong side of the rivalry game result. We'll recap a turnaround year for the Lions. We also take a look at the McKinney North Bulldogs season with Mike Fetchie joining us after a well-earned victory over Denison to finish off the season in style. So much football to get to, so little time. It all starts now on Sports Talk. Fortunately for the McKinney Lions, they came out on the wrong end of the rivalry matchup against McKinney Boyd, lost 56-21. I'm joined by head coach Jeff Smith. And coach, you needed that win to get in the playoffs. Didn't quite get it there at the end of the year. Still a great year, but just did not get it done the last game.
Sure didn't. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and it always is between us and Boyd. And we give Boyd a lot of credit. They did a good job, and Coach Drake and his staff and their kids played well. They had a great year, and we wish them well in the playoffs. For us, like you said it, I'm very proud of our kids in the year. It didn't end the way we wanted it to. It was a game that we wanted to win and clinch a playoff spot, but it just didn't happen. And from that, we'll take away the good. Obviously, there's some things that we wish would have went our way. But more than importantly, we grew as a team, and we did some things that I'm real proud of.
Well, we'll take a look at the highlights right now. And to start off the game, the McKinney Boyd Broncos, you have a short punt because you're going against the wind. That really gave them good field position. They scored early on to make it 7-0. But you come back with a good drive, convert a nice 3rd and 19 to Willis. And then you have a 4th and 2 at their 11. Could have been a key play for you, but you don't get the first down.
Yeah, we actually threw a pass, and one of the defensive backs for Boyd made a great play breaking it up on 3rd down, and then on 4th down we get into our Wildcat package and just didn't get the yards. So Boyd did a good job stopping us at that point, but we really needed to punch that one in.
You had one of those few stops right there, as we just saw on Brian Driscoll. He had a monster night, and it just happened to be bad timing for you that he played one of his best games ever.
Well, he's played good all year, and we knew that. We knew we had to stop him going into this game, and defensively that's what we tried to really focus on, was stopping the run, but he had a great night.
Robert had a good night as well, your quarterback. Threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Able to make it 14-7 early in the second quarter with a 14-yard pass to Connor Fuentes.
Yes, Robert played really well, has all year long. Made some good decisions. I was real happy with how he made plays with his feet in the pocket. He found some receivers open, made some really good plays. So, real proud of the way that he played.
And your running back Tommy Candela went down pretty early with an injury. Had a lot of players get injured in this game, so you have to, again, resort to Red Shannon carrying the ball at running back. How much did that change the course of this game, do you think?
Well, obviously when you lose key players on both sides of the ball, it changes the way that you call plays. Sometimes it changes your personnel and what their strengths are. And so we put Antonio Oliver in there some, and he did a good job. Xavier Taylor played a little bit. Red played some. But, we had to start throwing the ball a little bit more at times, especially when we started getting behind. So, those things definitely changed the game plan.
You cut the lead to 21-14 with a little over 2 minutes left in the first half. You have a nice 7-play, 90-yard drive.
Yeah, that was a great drive, just a tribute to our kids and how they battle. And really, with some of the penalties and some of the injuries, we're in the ball game. We're right where we want to be. We're down a score. I know they punched one in to extend that a little bit, but I was real proud of the way our kids came back and bounced back.
in the third quarter, you want to come off and have a good defensive start to start it off, but unfortunately, they scored a touchdown right out of the gate. Did that really take the wind out of your sails?
Well, you always want to start the third quarter well with a stop or with a touchdown, whatever side of the ball you're on, and that kind of sets the tone, for the second half. And you're right, it gave them a lot of momentum, and it took some away from us. And from there, we were trying to battle to get back in the game.
65 yards is the next touchdown pass you get. It's Sonborn to TV Williams, and that was a big score. Cut it back to 14 points about midway through third quarter. And after Sonborn throws an interception, you get the ball right back, recovering a fumble by Driscoll.
We did, and that was a great job, getting a takeaway, getting the ball back to the offense, and unfortunately we weren't able to really do much with it. But, anytime you can take the ball away, you could feel the momentum shift, and we felt like we were right back in it.
You go into the fourth quarter, you're down about 3 scores at this point, force them to a 3rd and 6 at your 49-yard line, have a chance here to get another stop and, still in this ball game, and they complete their only pass of the game against your defense. How critical was that play?
That was a tough one, the time they don't throw it a whole lot, but when they do a good job throwing it. And we just a vertical route, and they executed it well and got the first down. So that definitely hurt us.
Had some trouble in the special teams with the snaps on the punts. What happened there?
It was actually a pretty good snap. It might have been right at his eyes, but it just went through his hands a little bit, and he mishandled it. And then we were running around trying to get it, and they made a good play, knocked him off, and jumped on the ball. And so it actually wasn't that bad of a snap when we go back and look at it on the video. But we just mishandled it, and Matt's done a really good job. I will say this, we've had a lot of bad snaps throughout the year. They were high or whatever. Matt does a great job of handling those. That was one that got away from us.
Just kind of one of those nights. What do you think, though, of the atmosphere of this game with the rivalry game?
Oh, it was great. I mean, we told our kids all week it was going to be a pretty awesome night. A lot of people were going to be out, and our fans were great. They were tremendous and loud, and their fans were too. It was a neat atmosphere, and one that our kids, I know, will always remember.
Now that Boyd is in the playoffs, how deep do you think this team can go, given that you just played them in the last game of the season?
I think they can go far. They're very balanced. They have a good defense. They do a good job just keeping everything in front of them. They do a good job in all aspects of their defense. I think they played well against us, and I've seen them play well all year. I think their special teams, they've got some good kickers, and they execute well in the kicking game. Driscoll back deep, catching punts and kicks. That's dangerous every time he touches the ball. So, that helps them. And then obviously offensively, Brian Driscoll and that offensive line, and, Curtis Ladd, they do a good job, and they have all year long. And so I think they're a pretty balanced team. And, sometimes you'll meet teams in the playoffs that are heavy in one area and not as good in the other. I think they're pretty balanced. So, I look for them to make some noise, and we wish them well.
Now that you've had a couple of days to reflect on the season, you go from 0-10 last year to 5-5 this year. You don't make the playoffs, but in a certain way, this is really a winning season for McKinney.
It was, and going back to last year, we finished that season, and we looked at ourselves, our kids examined themselves, and we looked at ways to get better, and then all of a sudden we get put into District 10 5A in February, and a lot of people were saying, oh goodness, what now? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And a tribute to our kids went to work, and our coaches did too, and our community and our fans and our parents, they didn't waver. And our kids, that's a tribute to them, the work they put in the off season in the summer to prepare for this. We had great leadership from our seniors, just a great group, and one that I know that means a lot to me, just because they were about to be sophomores when I walked in the door. They were still freshmen when I got there in the spring of 2010, or I guess it was 11. But they were just a great group. And so to do what they did this year, no one would have expected them to do what they did. And so I'm real proud of them, and what they did. I know we wanted to make the playoffs, and that hurts a little bit, everyone. But we also got a big district win, and we're fighting for the playoffs, and had a great non-district record of 4-1. And so I think there's a lot of positives that we can take from this, and that'll give us momentum and help our young guys raise the bar and know what to expect and know how to handle business.
that was actually going to be my next question, is how do you take what you've learned from playing against these tough teams in 10-5A and use that to improve next year to get that second and hopefully third or more district wins?
Well, I think just that, the experience of playing against teams like Allen and Plano West and all these great teams, it's invaluable, that type of experience and seeing what it takes and what we need to do, because now they've played against it, now they see, and that motivates you in the weight room, that motivates you in off season. It gives you a gauge of what you need to do as a team. As a staff too, we go back and look at all the tape, we study ourselves, we look for ways to find an edge to get better. That's what it's always, we're always trying to get better. We're never satisfied. And so I think this, the experience of going through this for our younger guys was invaluable. And they're going to look at that, they're going to remember those things, and it's going to help them in the off season.
Who are the key guys that are returning to your squad next year?
Well, we got quite a few here and there on both sides of the ball. We're losing, like I said, a lot of seniors that played 3 years for us, and so that always hurts when you lose guys that know the system, that have been playing since they were sophomores. But some of the juniors that will be seniors next year have been playing since they were sophomores, and T.V. Williams and Dalen Willis and Tommy Candela will be back next year, as well as Antonio Oliver, Xavier Taylor. We have several key pieces back on the offensive line, David Tachi, some guys back there. We feel like that could be a strength. We've got to continue to work on that. Defensively, Kenan Samuel's really the anchor over there. He's going to be back next year on defense for us. And John Kent Calhoun played a lot as a sophomore. And on the back end, John Trell Rockamore and Desmond Jones. And there's some guys, and we played some young guys in spots with injuries and things that happen. You end up inserting a lot of young guys that get great experience, at that level. And, that's invaluable, because when you go down to it, you go into next year, they know what it feels like. They've been there, and that pays big dividends. They don't have big wide eyes. They've kind of been there. And so we'll also be looking at some of these young guys that are coming up, some of these sophomores and some guys from the JV that had great years on the JV level, and we'll start putting those pieces together.
How did the JV and some of the freshman teams do this year for McKinney High?
You know what? The JV did a good job. They had some early wins. It was a dogfight in district play, like it was for us on the varsity level, but got some good early wins. And the JV's is a tough spot, because every week we're moving guys up or down, or we're looking at this or that, and so really it's just a chance for them to play a lot and just get better. And they did. We had some guys really rise up and get better. At the freshman level, I know they had 5 wins and really did some good things. And there's some really good players down there, and we're excited about our future. And so, we got to continue to develop them in off season and in spring football and start putting it together.
And I have to ask you, Coach, who are a couple of individuals that you're really going to miss from the senior class?
Well, it's kind of hard to pick a few. I would say collectively we're going to miss this group. There's guys that are good at their trade. Robert Sonborn is good at what he does, and Red Shannon is good at what he does, and you have different guys that are good at their trade. We have offensive linemen that did a great job, Jonathan Schuster and all those seniors, Zach Lattis, and on the defensive side of the ball, Troy Taylor was just tremendous for us on both sides of the ball. Whatever we asked him to do, he did it. And guys in the secondary, Max Simpson and Jamani Ross Brown. So there's just so many. I know I mentioned some, but this group of seniors, whether it been a guy that was a backup or a guy that was a starter, played key roles, in our team, and we couldn't have done it without them. And so we're going to miss this group in the leadership they brought and the work they put in and the priority that they made it to be successful, no matter what adversity was in their way. And so that's a tribute to them, and I know they're going to do great things when they graduate. And so, as coaches, we're excited to see all the great things they do.
Well, Coach Smith, I really want to thank you for taking the time every week to come talk to me about the McKinney Lions and how the football season has progressed. And I would have really wished to, have a playoff game to be talking about next week with you, but nonetheless, a great season, 5-5 in a tough district, getting a key district win against Plano East. Well done, Coach.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The McKinney Lions will head into next year trying to build upon that 5-5 record and try and get maybe 2 wins or more in district play and make the playoffs next year.